you are about some of your constituents?
Well, like many of my colleagues, I've been reading those emails, those handwritten letters from constituents expressing just how frightened they are about the winter, which is almost upon us.
They are frightened. That's the word you would use. That's the word they're using.
That's the word they are using because they are sending in their budgets and they're just simply not adding up. I look to my own constituency where house prices rose by 11.9% this year. That's £382 above the rise in the state pension, which means that they're already in deficit. We don't have the cost of living payments, and if we're taking away the winter fuel payments as well from those pensioners, they're going to be struggling to pay their bills. And of course, we know with older people, they're frightened about getting into debt, and therefore the big question is, will they switch their heating on? And of course, we know already there's about £3 billion worth of unpaid bills across the country. That came out in the report which Caroline Flint set out over the summer. So we just know that that deficit will grow, but also if people are cold, then they're more likely to get ill, heart attack, stroke, pneumonia, or even other respiratory illnesses or hypothermia. That means they'll go and see their GP. It means they'll go to hospital. And tragically, research shows that 4,950 people didn't make it through because their houses were cold. So that's why we're really, really worried.
And you met Rachel Reeves yesterday to discuss this, I understand. Do you feel that she understands your concerns?
I think MPs across the board have raised those concerns.
Is she engaging?
She is listening. There's no doubt everybody has to listen. I appreciate she inherited a really difficult economic situation and she addressed that in July, rightly so, to stop a run in the pounds. However, this particular measure could end up costing more because if people are dependent on the NHS, that will have a huge impact. Now, MPs recognise there are many people which receive the winter fuel payments which quite frankly don't need that, and that in that case we have to say, when the budgets are tight, why should they? Mm-hmm. But there are about 1 million pensioners above the threshold of pension credit which are really going to struggle to pay their bills this winter, potentially go cold. So of course we've got to protect those, and that's what everybody is calling for. Let's wrap our arms around those people and find a resolve to this issue. If they do, we would give government a big tick because they've looked after people, and that's what we want to see.
There will be a vote on this next week. If there are no changes to the government's plan between now and then, could you vote for this?
I couldn't vote for this, but I think what we are saying, this is bigger than a vote, because this is about protecting people's lives, and ultimately that is our responsibility as MPs, to speak truth to power, and that's all we're doing, is to say, actually, there are some people in danger here that are at risk, and we need a government to step in, like Gordon Brown did when he introduced the winter fuel payment. He recognised that old people were frightened to flick the switch to keep themselves warm. He said, I'm not having that. A Labour government, our moral purpose is to protect people, and that's why we will introduce the winter fuel payment, obviously worth a greater value of the energy bill. Today, energy bills, of course, going up on the 1st of October by another 10%. So being able to put that protection is a Labour action, and that's why I'm saying to Rachel Reeves, please take that action to protect the poorest pensioners. Yes, greater take-up of the pension credit, but also those people who will fall into poverty because they're just above those thresholds, which is a cliff edge set by previous governments.
I hear you when you say this is bigger than a vote.
Yes.
And that you couldn't you couldn't sleep at night if you voted for this. That's the impression I'm getting from you. I've just put those words into your mouth, but I can feel it in the studio. And yet I'm also going to ask, because there will be a 3-line whip, as Nick's just explained. Are you mindful at all of the 7 of your colleagues who were suspended, who lost the Labour whip after voting against the government on an amendment to scrap the 2-child benefit?
This doesn't come in for it for me and many of my colleagues. We're just so concerned. I will do anything to protect life, and on this occasion what I'm saying to our government, they've got the weekend to work this through, but put in some mitigation to protect the most vulnerable, not just those on pension credit, but those people above the line, to ensure that they can be safe, warm and well this winter. It's an imperative that they do that. The economic savings that they will do from making that decision, let alone protect the NHS, which is a flagship mantra of the Labour Party, absolutely essential. We know it's under extreme pressure at the moment, so we don't need more people in our GP surgeries, let alone hospital beds.
Thank you very much. Thank you for talking to our audience. Thank you. Rachael Maskell, Labour MP.